The day after our dress rehearsal, aka team member night, and I'm feeling muscles that I haven't used all year long. Now, for the hype list, my hype list that is, of the scare zones and houses, hit the button. Let's get started. Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here, the horror host of Generations X, Y, and Z inside Davis Manor, where we find humor in horror, and we are continuing our Halloween Horror Nights number 28's coverage with the hype list, as in my hype list, as in what I am most hyped to see, and I'm going to be breaking it down in scare zones and in houses for you in order of what I am most hyped to see. This is not a review. A review will be coming later on in the season. We've only had one night, the dress rehearsal night, and I worked it, aka the team member night. I call it the dress rehearsal night because it's kind of our last hurrah before it actually officially opens. So I'm going to review the scare zones and the houses, not the shows. Why? Because there's only one show, and it's Academy of Villains. So yeah, you're number one, Academy of Villains. Congratulations. I don't know if that's good because you won by default or not, but anyways, if you haven't seen any of my other Halloween Horror Night videos for Halloween Horror Nights 28, let me go ahead, pause for self-promotion. You can go ahead and click that link above. It's going to give you all the info and insights for the houses, the scare zones, anything that really involves Halloween Horror Nights number 28 is going to be put in that playlist. So go ahead and check it out. You can feel free to go ahead and continue to watch this one. This isn't going to spoil anything, but make sure if you haven't seen the info and insights to the other houses, scare zones, check it out. It's good. I might be biased because it's just me, but anyways, as things are continuing here, a big old shout out to the patrons of the channel. That is right, them scrolling up right there. And if you want to be part of the show, if you want to help make decisions of future projects, if you want to receive exclusive content, get behind access, maybe get some merchandise like the Blitzbolt shirt, go ahead, click the link above. Also the link at the end of the video or in the description as well. Pledging by becoming a patron is the best way to increase the quality and the quality and quantity, I guess you could say, of this channel. We've got a lot of really cool goals. Make sure you go ahead and click the link, see what the goals are, see what the rewards are for the tiers as well. I'd love to have you part of the team, but now we're going to go into the hype list here. We're going to start off with the scare zones, and that means that we're going to start at number 5 because there's 5 scare zones, and the number 5 spot goes to Twisted Tradition. Being at the bottom of this list is not a bad thing because there's 5 really good concepts here. However, an ancient evil has been done before a decent amount of time. So, yeah, Twisted Tradition might not have the strongest concept out of all of them. I do think, though, it being in Central Park, it's going to have some really eye-catching scenery. Number 4 is The Harvest. I have a feeling that I'm going to be subconsciously comparing this to Scarecrow the Reaping, which was an awesome house last year, mind you. It's so awesome, I think it's going to be a disservice to this scare zone, though, and I don't think that's fair. And in previous, like, harvesting type scare zones, we've seen killer scarecrows, pumpkin heads. Some of them have welded chainsaws. I'm looking forward to seeing what exactly the monsters are, what they look like coming out. I have not seen the costumes for this scare zone, so we shall see. Number 3 is the extremely popular scare zone sequel called Vamp 85. Now, don't get me wrong. I love the 80s. I grew up in the 80s. I love vampires too. And this is a scare zone that I really want to see. And the thought of making New York City into New Year's Eve, I just think is a great concept, and I totally expect the costumes to be on point for the 80s. And of course, all the scare actors in Vamp 85 are going to be top notch. This comes as the top of the original properties and where it lands because the next 2 properties, intellectual properties, I am just so jonesing to see. Which leads us into the number 2 spot, Revenge of Chucky. Now, I might be setting this up for failure. The fact that Chucky is going to be there as a puppet, basically, I mean, in life-size Chucky form, and interacting with the crowd that is out there, makes me think of Chucky's Insult Emporium back in Hollywood, which I never saw in person because I never went to the Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights. I only seen it on YouTube clips. And that is something that I have been wanting to see in Orlando for a really long time. And wrapping that up, making the #1 spot go to Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I do love this movie so much. It is just a property that I have enjoyed ever since I've seen it. You have to take this scare zone with a sense of disbelief, though. I think this might be another scare zone that I might be hyping too much into my head. And when I say you got to take it with a sense of disbelief, it's because you got giant clowns that are aliens that are harvesting people in cocoon pods and stuff like that. I think that it's not going to be too jump scary. I think that it's going to be creepy because the clowns are creepy. They're not ones that move super quick or anything like that in the movie, so I don't expect the scare actors to be doing that as well. But I do expect them to be walking the walk and moving the way that they do in the movies, and that's just creepy. I know that I am a fan of sci-fi horror, and I kind of throw Killer Clowns from Outer Space into that. It's not a slasher movie, that's for certain. But just like Invasion, which was a big disappointment for me, I just want to see a sci-fi horror zone that does the property right. And I'm hoping that Killer Clowns is not going to be a disappointment. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Now let's get into the houses. And again, there are some great intellectual and original properties here. I don't think I've been so hyped for an event since Halloween Horror Nights 17, Carnival of Carnage. That was 11 years ago. I am really stoked about this year. So starting off the list is number 10 with The Horrors of Blum House. And somebody has to start off the list, and Blum House takes that position. And I'm not saying that Blum House is number 10 because I don't want to see the house. I do want to see the house. It might be because I'm not that big of a fan of last year's Blumhouse's house. But it also could be the fact that I am getting a little purged out personally. We've seen The Purge numerous times. It's starting to feel like a property like The Walking Dead, where it's like, okay, we've had enough, you know. And even though this new movie, the first Purge, it's a different movie. It's not just the property of The Purge, but it is playing to the first movie. It's still The Purge. So, yeah. But I will say, because I'm the type of person that likes something different, I'm really excited to see Happy Death Day. I know the Happy Death Day came out in Hollywood before us here in Orlando, but it's something different. And to be honest, I would have rather seen an entire house of Happy Death Day and not had The Purge. Or make The Purge a scare zone outside of Happy Death Day or something. Something definitely different than what is going on. So that's why it's number 10. But let's get into number 9. And number 9 is Seeds of Extinction. Now, I do think that this has the potential to be a really good house, but I am more excited about the possible sightings of different Easter eggs in the house than the house itself. So that's why Seeds of Extinction comes in at the number 9 spot. I think the concept is cool. I don't know how well it will translate. I do know that we will, as a guest, you're going to have to be pushing vines out of the way in your face. I know that there'll be camo suits like the ghillie suit. That is a suit. There is a person in there. So I do expect that type of stuff to be in the house, and I think those scare actors in those suits are going to scare people like crazy. And that is a cool thing. However, I don't know what else is going to be in there, so we'll have to see. Which leads us to the number 8 spot, and that goes to Stranger Things. Truth be told, I've only seen the first season of Stranger Things, so and I was kind of meh on it. The second half of the first season was good. The first half was a little slow for me, so I haven't jumped onto the second season. I know that this house is strictly the first season, so I can relate to it. But being not a huge fan of the franchise, I feel like it's going to be like American Horror Story for me. I'm going to go in, I'm going to know the characters, I'm going to get some of the settings and stuff, but I'm not going to be like one of the diehard fans out there. And Stranger Things has a huge diehard fan base, and they are going to vote for that being the best. They're going to be tweeting it and putting, you know, pictures of them standing outside and doing their 11 pose, and they're going to be buying the merchandise, and it's going to be a very successful IP for Halloween Horror Nights. I know that. I'm just a little meh about it, so that's where it landed on my list. And the number 7 spot is Trick or Treat. Now, Trick or Treat landing in this spot for me, especially because I'm a fan of the anthology movie, might shock a few people out there. But there's a reason why it's number 7 on my list, and that is because it was a scare zone last year. And we're going back into the whole thing like I was talking with the Purge and Blum House. If I've seen something before the previous year and it comes back the next year without really changing anything, you know, it's not like it's a sequel or anything because Trick or Treat's just one movie. So I'm not too hyped about it. I got the scare zone. I thought it was great. I expect some of the stuff from the scare zone to be in the house, as everybody should. And yeah, I'm not that hyped to see it, though I do think it's going to be done well. And because I like the movie, yeah, I think it'll be successful. I don't know if it'll be the most popular out there, though. And rounding out the bottom half at number 6 is Dead Exposure, Patient Zero. I enjoyed Dead Exposure, the original, when it came out in the house. I thought the concept was really cool, where it was using the flashes of the camera to strobe out so you could see what's going on. This concept is that the quarantine that you get, the cure to stop you from being a zombie or whatever, it gives you blindness, but apparently it's not going to be permanent blindness. Otherwise, you'd be walking in the house completely dark. I mean, if that was the case, no bueno. So I expect the type of scares to be just like Dead Exposure. You know, there'll be peripheral hits and stuff like that, and you'll be in the darkness, so the scare actors will be able to sneak up on you a little bit better. I would probably put this a little bit higher on my list if there wasn't so many other good properties out there. So let's get into the top 5. And the number 5 spot is Scary Tales, Deadly Ever After. I just love this concept. The Wicked Witch of the West totally corrupts the realm of fairy tales, and what was once pure is now evil, and once was evil is much worse. And the thoughts of taking those beloved fairy tale characters and just twisting them around and making them a lot more evil is something that is appealing to me because, yes, scary tales have been done before, but there are things that I've heard and know about this house that are just cool thoughts. I mean, the Wicked Witch of the West flying out and you know, look up. That's all I'm saying. Just look up. There are some cool things that are going to be happening here. And that is not a clue of where I'm going to be. All clues are already done. I should have probably said that in the beginning of the video, but I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to seeing this. The cleverness of this property is a really good concept, and it's something that I'm looking forward to. Which takes us to the number 4 spot, which is Carnival Graveyard. This house has the potential to be a sleeper hit. Much like the other ones, I think Seeds of Extinction has the chance of being a sleeper hit too, probably because the expectations are a little bit lower. Carnival Graveyard, however, has a high expectation, not just for me being at the number 4 spot, but I've seen the internet rumblings going on and talking about Carnival Graveyard. A lot of people are going to be wanting to go in here, and I don't know if it's because they expect it just to be one big carnival and clowns and people just attacking you or what. I'm not quite sure. It's a rundown amusement park. It is everything that was wholesome down. People are, the carnies that are in there have taken everything that you think is happy and joyful and have weaponized it for their own evil purposes. And I think that's a cool concept. I like that idea. And I think the major success of this house is going to fall on the scare actors themselves. And I know some of the scare actors that are in the house. Again, no clue on where I'm going to be on that. It's just that I do know personally some of the scare actors in there, and these are really good scare actors, and expect some good scares coming from this house. I'm excited about it, and that's why it's number 4. And going to the number 3 spot is the last original property, which is called Slaughter Sinema. I love B-horror movies, and the schlockiest the better when it comes to that type of stuff. I also love the house that was the Usher's house that was called Silver Screams. That was way back in the day. I can't remember what number Halloween Horror Nights that is right now. But it's the same layout, basically, where it comes in, you're going into the movie theater, you see the movie poster, you go into the movie over and over and over. And I like that concept because basically it's the greatest hits of Universal Creative's team with numerous movie properties. And so I don't want to say they're failed ideas or anything, but it might be a concept that we're like, hey, this would be a lot of fun, but it's not going to be a house, but it can be a scene. So, and who knows, maybe a scene might become a house or a scare zone or something later on if it's that popular. But like I said, it's going to be a greatest hits. You just boom, 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 constantly into the next house, the next movie. And I like that. I guess that helps with my ADD of horror. I got to go to the next scare. I got to go to the next scare. So I think Slaughter Sinema, number 3, is a perfect spot for it. Moving into the number 2 spot, and this was tough for me because it's close between the two, is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. As I start with most of this stuff, I love the concept or whatever, but I love the movie. The Halloween franchise itself. I love Halloween, the whole entire franchise. Though some people on the internet might think that I don't because I diss it for some reason. I'm allowed to be critical of things. It's kind of what I do on YouTube. Anyways, Halloween 4 is the reason why I got into the slasher genre. I had seen slasher movies before, but not until Halloween 4 did I really embrace slasher movies. And I loved seeing Loomis and Myers as Michael left a trail of death through his rampage in Haddonfield. And I know that the jump scares should be aplenty when it comes to this house. The scare actors that are selling it as Michael Myers, they're going to be coming in all directions. I expect that. And I am a little meh about it when it comes to me as a guest because it's not just about the jump scares for me. It is about the setting. It is about the storytelling. So I'm really looking forward to them telling the story of Halloween 4 throughout this house. And I just hope it's as awesome as the movie. And that means the number 1 spot on the list of my most hyped and psyched house goes to the 1982 property Poltergeist. I have said many times in this HHN coverage that Poltergeist was the first horror movie that I remember seeing back in the day. So, and it scared me as a little kid. It just stuck with me. The fact of seeing the Freelings and Tangina battle against the Beast in the Freelings' home, I just thought was amazing. It was amazing and eye-catchy and on screen. And to think that they're going to take all the special effects, all the things that we've seen in the movie from this Steven Spielberg story and screenplay, produced also by Spielberg and directed by Tobe Hooper, to take that creative talent that we have seen on screen and make it real life, so to speak, so you can experience it firsthand as a guest. I am really, really pumped about this house. I think that, again, this is the type of house that if the scare actors that are in there are on point, it could blow people's expectations just away. I think people will be like, oh, wow, Poltergeist was really good. Like, I think that it doesn't come off starting with a hype list very high, but for me it does because I love the movie. And let me add this. American Werewolf in London, back when that came out, which was an amazing house, by the way, we were able to see John Landis, the director of American Werewolf in London, come to the house. He walked through it, and he liked it and gave his blessings. Though I think I heard the first time that he went through, there was a couple things that he was a little concerned about. But that just shows the professionalism of John Landis, where it was his baby as a director. And talking about it being somebody's baby, I mean, Tobe Hooper has passed, who was the director of Poltergeist. Steven Spielberg is very much alive. And he, like I said, it was his story. He came up with the story, did the screenplay, was an executive producer. And the thought of Steven Spielberg coming to Universal Studios, Halloween Horror Nights, to check out that house is a really cool thought. Especially, I mean, because he's been part of Universal Orlando before. I mean, Jaws and E.T., he's been part of the creative process of them building the park. So I would think that he would have to come and visit. I would love to see something on YouTube or whatever, some type of interview or saying, or even a tweet from him saying, what his thoughts are of a haunted house based off of a movie that he had done. So, with that, that is my list, and that is why Poltergeist is number 1 on my list. My question for you is, where do you rank these houses, hype list-wise? I know that we've already had team member night, so some people that might have been watching this has already seen the houses. And you have to realize this was the first night for a lot of the scare actors, so you might have an initial ranking. And some people do that. They might go initial ranking, and then mid of the run they do it again, and end of the run they do it again. So there are plenty of people that are still working out their kinks and stuff for their roles. So just give me a hype list. What were you most hyped about? What are you most pumped seeing? Ranking of scare zones and houses. If you can do both of them, leave a comment down below so we can talk about it. And as always, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell icon as well. That way you get notified the moment that I upload. And I will see you in the next video.